What's up, guys? So before I launch into the content of this video, I'd like to share an update with y'all. Now, if you've been following my videos, you may have noticed that while I've been on maternity leave, I started running ads on my channel, and I also am sponsored by TherapyNotes. And these are just ways that I can generate revenue to put back into this channel to make the content even better for you all. And none of this would be possible if you didn't watch my videos. So I just wanted to say a huge thank you. Thank you for watching my videos, for leaving all your super nice comments, and giving me feedback so I can keep making more content. Now, with all that said, I used some of the money from this revenue to buy a new camera. Now, right now you're watching me on my veteran Canon Rebel T3i that I bought with every scrap of graduation money in 2012 when I got my PsyD. And I've used this camera to film literally hundreds of videos across 3 different YouTube channels. But it's finally time to reveal the upgrade. Are you ready? Ta-da! When I launched this channel a little over a year ago, I made a rule for myself that I wouldn't upgrade my gear until I started earning income from this channel. So this is a huge milestone on many levels, and again, thank you so much for watching and supporting me with these videos. So now on to the content of this video. Now, I've been amazed by how many of you following this channel are still in graduate school and making plans to work in private practice someday. I really wish I was that on top of things when I was in graduate school. And many of you ask if it's possible to start preparing for private practice while you're still in graduate school. So in this video, I offer my top tips for how to prepare for private practice while you're still a grad student. Oh man, crying baby. She's protesting nap time. She knows I'm recording a video. Apparently baby girl decided she was done with her nap, so she's here playing next to me now, so you may hear her in the background during this video. Welcome to Private Practice Skills. I'm Dr. Marie Fang, psychologist in private practice. I post videos offering tools I learned the hard way about starting and growing private practice so that you don't have to. Now, I'll be honest, when I was in graduate school, I thought private practice was not something I could launch in my early career. I mean, I kind of thought you had to be at a point in life when most of your hair was gray and you had a bunch of life experience under your belt, whatever that means. Now, as it turns out, I am starting to get more gray hair going on. I'm still pretty young. But as it turns out, it's not the case at all. You can launch private practice in your early career, and I launched my private practice when I was 25 years old, and there's been no looking back since then. But I launched my practice having no idea what I was doing, and I learned all these lessons using the trial and error method. So I could have been successful much sooner if I had the right tools to begin with, and even better if I got started while I was still a student. So here are my tips to prepare yourself for private practice while you're still a student. Tip number 1, create space to develop your niche. Graduate school is a wonderful space to discover and develop your interests. And though it is incredibly helpful to have a honed-in niche by the time you launch your private practice, there's absolutely no sense in rushing this process. I remember when I was in graduate school, I felt this sense of pressure that I needed to have my area of specialty and my theoretical orientation dialed in by like day 1. And this is incredibly unhelpful. Graduate school is a time to explore and discover, and if you feel pressured to nail down your niche right away, then you might just find yourself hastily choosing something that's maybe ill-suited for you. Instead, I encourage you to keep your options wide open. As an example, when I went to graduate school, I was dead set on becoming a child CBT therapist, and at this point, pretty much none of that is true about me. So maybe think about graduate school as like a dating scene for your specialty, right? If you had to commit forever to the first person you dated, there would be so much pressure to get it right without really having any valuable information that you need in order to make a healthy decision. But if you have space to kind of date around casually before you make a commitment, then you can really get to know yourself, get to know what sort of partners are a good match, and similarly, in graduate school, you can get to know what sort of interests, specialties, and niches are a good fit for you so that when it's time to commit, you have a really healthy education to make that decision. You know what I mean. Tip number 2, discover your core values. So though your niche can kind of develop and shift over time, each of us tend to have some core values that stem from our early childhood experiences and stick with us for life. And it's really helpful to identify what some of those are for you while you're in grad school so that you know what kind of brand you're going to speak from when you're in private practice. So for example, when I was in graduate school, I didn't actually know yet whether I wanted to work with kids or adults, what presenting issues I was interested in, and what theoretical orientation I might utilize. But there were some threads that have stuck with me since childhood. For example, I always struggled in school as a kid, and I always felt like I was just kind of running a little bit behind, such that even by the time I got to freshman year of college, I was having trouble maintaining a C average in a lot of my classes. But eventually, I would kind of learn things the hard way, and then I really enjoyed teaching people taking the class right after me how to ace the class. Sound familiar? One thing that's always been true for me is I've really enjoyed teaching people who are going through something that previously I really struggled with in the past. I really enjoy doing that with private practice skills, and that's also a thread in my private practice as well. And if you're thinking, Marie, that just sounds like way too much work, I'm busy enough in grad school, well, I'm basing this off of just remembering in my graduate school experience, there were so many personal reflection assignments, I wanted to rip my hair out by the end. But the good news is you can utilize these assignments, and in the back of your mind, keep your brand and your private practice in mind and try to identify some of your core values as you navigate these personal reflection assignments. Baby girl. Oh, baby. Tip number 3, meet people. I really wish people told me this when I was still in school. One of the biggest assets of being in graduate school is building your networks. Your supervisors, your professors, and your peers are all going to be your referral networks when you're in private practice in the future. So make sure you're intentional about meeting those people around you and getting connected with them. As you make these connections, it's most beneficial to leave a legacy about your integrity and your character. People aren't going to remember you by your specialty or what stuff you worked on in graduate school, but they will remember if you're a hard worker and somebody who cares deeply about their clients. I mean, this is true for me. I'm more than 7 years out of graduate school, and I still make referrals to those from my cohort who I really saw as people who care deeply for their clients and were hard workers. And yes, there's still some therapists that I've never referred to because the opposite reasons. Tip number 2 really can come in handy here because if you're really connected with your core values, it's helpful to emulate those as you make connections and try to find others who share some of the same core values. Tip number 4, start a website. Now, I know what you're probably thinking because this is what I would have been thinking if someone told me to launch a website in grad school. I'd be thinking, who am I to speak to the world from a platform I haven't even built yet? I'm not an expert yet. I don't even know what my business name would be. I don't even know technologically how to launch a website. And all of these types of concerns are probably roadblocks for most people, keeping them from starting. But I assure you, you don't need to know any of these things to be successful in launching a website right now. I mean, let's just say, for example, that while I was in grad school, I picked a really simple domain name and purchased it, like mariefang.com. And I used a user-friendly website builder like Wix or Squarespace and used one of their really basic, beautiful templates. And just whenever I had the chance to, posted up a blog post. I mean, technologically, that would have been super manageable. And then once the day came to actually launch my practice, I could just forward that domain name to my new website. And as an example, I have this set up right now. If you type in drmariefang.com, it will just instantly forward you to my private practice website, lifechristiancounseling.net. This is really easy to set up, and you don't even need to know how to do this yet. You can figure that part out later. Now, I know you might also be thinking, who has time to blog in graduate school? And you're absolutely right. I really don't want you to spend any more time than you already are, because I remember, I kept track, I wrote 20 to 40 pages per week, plus my dissertation, which is like 200 pages. I mean, no one has time to blog in grad school. I get it. But what I suggest is that you repurpose all those papers you're already writing so that they do something beyond just like sit in a folder somewhere that, trust me, you never look at again after grad school. You can just tweak each of your papers ever so slightly to be blog friendly and just copy and paste it onto your website. And then by the time you finish and graduate, you'll have a couple of years worth of blog posts up and ready, and that's gonna boost your SEO game, which means that your website is gonna show up higher in Google search results because you've been posting to your website regularly. Now, of course, there's no one right way to do private practice. So while you're in graduate school, I encourage you to focus on getting to know who you are and plugging into presenting your authentic self to your cohort, your professors, and out into the world. When you're on the other side and you've graduated, People will remember you as a person of integrity, and if you add in some of the other tools from my channel, you'll be ready to launch your own private practice in no time. Well, I hope you found this video helpful as you consider preparing for private practice while you're still in graduate school. If you have any other tips you would add, let me know in the comments below, and until next time, from one therapist to another, I wish you well. Today's video is brought to you by TherapyNotes.com. TherapyNotes helps with scheduling, notes, and billing so that you can spend more time with your clients and less time on back office paperwork. Click the link in the description of this video to get 2 months to try it for free with no commitment. Oh, baby. She said, baby girl. Oh, gotta help her. Give it out. Oh, baby girl. What happened to nap time? Her 3-hour nap has turned into an hour nap. So that when the day comes to commit to, bleh, you can always bleh.